Hello. So this is how you make a knife. Alright, so we got a piece of bar stock here. This was actually a mounting bracket off an old tractor. So what I did was, had actually my 10-year-old daughter traced out the knife she wanted. Alright. I got the power saw there and cut it out. Alright, I used a Sawzall with a metal cutting blade. See? No high tech. Alright. Lubricate with WD-40. Works great. When the blade gets hot, quench it. Alright. And then, so, you got your cutout blade shape, right? Alright. And then you want to do your initial grinding to make an edge. Okay. I use this old hand grinder because it's what I got. Not spectacular. It's out of an old master knife maker shop in Adirondacks. Had an estate sale and my brother bought it knowing what it was, and everybody else didn't seem to. So put some oil in the top hole and started turning, which is a beautiful thing. Alright, this here is ground on both sides to be the rough grind. Okay, remember you cut out a basic shape, not perfect. Alright, and then anyways, grind it at both sides to be a steep pitch. Alright, and then when you get it to where the two sides meet, doing the same pitch. When the two sides meet, then you do a steeper grind. Alright, and make the finished edge. Okay, you want to make a steeper grind on this one. We open this thumb screw and lean this back a bit and get a steeper angle there. Alright, and so you lean it like this and turn the handle real fast with one hand while you go like this with the other. It really helps if you can have somebody else turning the handle, but it don't always work out that way. Matter of fact, for me, it seldom does. My kids get tired after a couple minutes cranking that thing. They're little. So, but yeah, you know. And then the other thing is helps saw blades cut is sliding some soap along the side of the blade. Alright, it's just regular old household dial soap. Alright, and I keep a wooden block handy. Alright, so you have something to cut against when you need to cut. Alright, so like if you had a file here, you could put the block here and then lean into it this way, so you keep something to touch the end of the blade against, so you know when to stop. Alright, a couple of different kinds of pieces of wood here. Just cut them off with the cut-off saw. Alright, and you got your basic drill, and we're going to use that later. Drill holes in the tang. One here, one here. Might want one in the middle, I don't know. Alright, and then you make the two sides of your handle. Alright, and in this case, the way I like to do it is I like to relief cut the back of it and then make the two sides meet on the bottom, so I have nothing but wood on the bottom. So I find when the tang actually goes all the way through to the bottom, I find I can never get it quite smooth enough to be padded well. So I like to make the two sides just wood on the bottom. And when I do it, I put some carpenter's glue on the inside, and then I putty and polish it real nice. I like a solid wood handle. I don't like that metal in the middle. On the top I don't mind so much, but on the bottom where your fingers are, it starts to really wear on you. Alright, and that's just the way I like them. Alright, and in the end I'll end up squaring this notch up, right, and making it perpendicular so your fingers don't hit against this angle like that. Alright, but I do like this end to be angled, and that way, for me, when you're doing what I do with a good hunting knife, you don't lose track of where it is inside of stuff when it's all covered in, you know, deer blood or whatever. You don't want it to be so that when you don't see quite what you're doing, where your hand is, right, you know there's no blade, and that's the way I like it. That's just the way I like it. And then when you go to find your sheath, when you don't really have both hands to work with, all right, it'll tend to find the sheath a lot easier, right, if the blade's out ahead of your hand. Okay, it's a little safety issue there, and that was taught to me by somebody long ago. Um, that's just the basics of it, you know. And it ain't no rocket science. All it is get a good piece of steel. Whenever you find a good piece of steel, it's big and wide. Looks like you can make a blade out of it. Grab it. Lawnmower blades, bits of tractors, old little bits that you find laying around. Just grab them and pile them up. Alright? You can't really screw nothing up if you got the piece of metal for free. It ain't going to mess you up. Ain't going to mess up your budget at all. Just go ahead and start trying. Alright? And I recommend hand filing once you get the general shape down and you get the grinds right. Hand file it. Alright? Then you want to heat it up until the blade starts turning colors with a torch. Alright, what I use is a propane torch. I usually use matte gas when I'm heating a blade. Because matte is methane and propane mix. Alright, this is just propane in this bottle. But this right here is matte gas. Right? It heats up a little bit hotter. Alright, and you get a little bit more of the result you're looking for. Alright, get it good and hot. When it starts to turn colors, alright, the color everybody's looking for is purple. Alright, not yellow, not red, but purple. And then dip it into ice cold water. The old hillbilly taught me how to make them. He would dip them into a bucket of waste oil. Had an oil change to his wife's car. But it sure did work. Alright, and but you want to do that after you get all your shaping done. And you get it really the way you like it. Alright, if you heat metal up real hot, like to yellow, red, purple, yellow, purple, red, I guess, and then quench it real fast with water, alright, it makes the steel hard. Alright, if you quench it slow, if you don't quench it, you just let it cool down on its own. Alright, like the way they taught me to do it was to actually build a fire over the knife, right, like a campfire, and then let the fire put itself out and cool down, and come back the next afternoon and fetch it out, and it'd be the metal would be annealed. In other words, it's soft and pliable, and you can cut it with a file real easy. It's a lot easier to work with. I didn't do that with this one, just because it takes time that I just didn't have. I had a couple hours every day after work to work on stuff like this, and so having the power tools to do it with, it's okay to do it this way. But if you don't have power tools to do it with, and you're cutting it with the old hacksaw, which is how I started out doing it, it definitely helps to anneal the metal first. Alright, and then when you get done shaping it after you've annealed it, and then you shape it by cutting away metal and grinding, do initial grind and all that stuff, then you want to quench it and harden it. Okay, you can anneal it and then quench it, anneal it and then quench it. But then once you get the final thing done, it's all quenched, and you want to draw the metal out by heating it up to 270 degrees. All right, you want to get the metal to 270 degrees. All right, and then let it cool down on its own. All right, and that will do what's called drawing the metal out, drawing out the brittleness. Did you say? And that'll keep the blade from snapping and be flexible enough that you can grind the edge back on it if you have to. It'll be easy to sharpen. Alright. For finishing, the thing I always like to do is use a cold bluing kit, like for gun barrels and stuff like that. And that's the finish I just like to use. I find it protects the metal a little bit better, and it's just the way I do it. You can do it however you like. You can use I guess some people use Cerakote and everything, get these high-speed finishes on there, but I like things the old way, as you can see. So, yeah, this is it. If you don't believe there's old hillbillies making stuff like this, I'm here to tell you there are in shops that look nothing better, more special than like you see here. When I say hillbilly, I do mean it. Thank you. Have a good day. All right, bye.